Hey everybody, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. Today I've got two of the Build-a-Minifigure kits from the Lego store. These were picked out for me by a friend, and these were mostly available earlier this year, so early 2024. They had the Ninjago, kind of some interesting combinations of different torsos and prints available from the Ninjago line, like Sora here was part of the Build-a-Minifigure availability, which kind of surprised me, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get a hold of these eventually. So thank you for picking these out and getting them to me earlier this year. And today just kind of take a look through these minifigures. So Kai, the fire ninja with a red katana. The katana, of course, has been around for the entire Ninjago run dating back to 2011, possibly a little bit earlier. I'm not for sure about that. And of course, Ninjago itself, a very long-running theme and still going strong. So these are kind of specific. I think this is the specific face for Kai as well. Of definitely the headpiece and the torso. And then the printed legs with the knee pads here. I don't know, that might be Kai specific, that might be a little more generic. It definitely could be used elsewhere and not necessarily retain that Ninjago exclusivity, because it's not necessarily that detailed to where the torso and the headpiece are. So Kai there, of course the green ninja, Lloyd himself. Again, similar with the head printing and the torso. This time I would say that the olive green leg print is definitely a little bit more Ninjago locked. It would be out of place to see this without the upper half of the torso, in my opinion. And the dual molded ninja head piece as well here for Lloyd. Come on, focus on Lloyd, there we go. Lime green katana with this minifigure. And Nia. I think I've said Naya in the past, but I'm going to say Nia this time. And this complete minifigure here is definitely the exclusive version. All the prints very specific to this minifig, and the light azure katana here. This is probably my favorite out of the three Ninjago minifigs from this batch here, just because of the blue highlights. And the Nia character herself dating back to when Josh and I looked at the Water Strider set, and the version of Nia in that set was very well done in my opinion. So there is the first batch. The second batch has some of the newer characters, and I am not going to know the names except for Sora, just because I have seen her in some other sets as well. So Sora here with the kind of the action torso, going sleeveless, and this it's not entirely unique hairpiece mold. This is probably introduced with Monkey Kid in black. So reused here in the bright coral. This color we may or may not see for too much longer, depending on how Lego wants to phase in and out certain colors. We have seen a couple new ones in the last few years, so this coral one might be on the way out. And along with that, getting a couple of pieces that you wouldn't otherwise see for this color. Other than that, this plain blue legs. We do have this pearl gold arm on the side here. I'm not familiar with the source material, why that would be there, but it does kind of give this unique torso one more distinguishing feature. So that would be the first minifig. The second one, this top torso with the red highlights, what would this be called, like a dojo robe or something. It is a Ninjago print, but it's more of like a generic training garb, and rather than tied to a specific character, I believe. I've seen it in some other sets where it's more of just a, the NPCs of Ninjago would be wearing this. And for the face and the hair, we do have the double-sided face, and then an orange, I think that's just plain orange, kind of a short cropped hair piece. But yeah, this is a nice looking figure, and the printed legs with the sash there. And I have a teapot for this minifigure to carry around. Very nice. Oh yeah, I got a pearl gold sword for Sora. And the last guy for today, this character does have a name. I don't remember what it is, but I like the combination of the orange and the bright light orange for the robe here. Of course, the plain bright light orange legs, non-printed, and then a newer hair mold in black, and a newer face print. And this might belong to a ninja, this print specifically. I don't know if it goes with this ninja or a different character. But yeah, the torso here is pretty nice, again in that Ninjago theme, kind of the robe style, folded over and with an emblem on the back. My accessory for this minifigure is a chicken. Don't know if I have this color yet, so that is a good color to get for a chicken. And that rounds out the second clamshell of minifigs. So definitely keeping an eye on what's available in BAM these days. And of course that BAM stands for Build-a-Minifigure. And oftentimes in the past couple years we have seen BAM offering exclusive minifigure decorated elements that aren't actually found in other sets or really anywhere else for release, which was confirmed. I think I saw a Lego store manager or somebody involved with the process confirming that on Twitter a while back. So that's interesting. It's definitely a draw to the stores and something else to keep an eye out for in the collecting sphere. But at the same time, you know, there are going to be some interesting prints out there to get a hold of that you aren't necessarily going to be able to find in a set. Now, we do have a pretty healthy batch of people that are just going to pick up these parts for reselling purposes, and that is another way to get a hold of them if you don't find yourself going to Lego stores that often. But again, that's kind of going to be subject to what's available and the pricing going to match that. So probably going to see slightly higher prices on those elements that are remaining unique to Build-a-Minifigure, just because of that limited release nature of the parts. I think all of the parts in these minifigures today are available somewhere else in at least one set or another. Being Ninjago parts, they are theme related, and so they're probably going to show up in that respective theme. But another reason, in my opinion, to pick up these parts from a Build-a-Minifigure station instead of the set is if you're just interested in the minifigures and you're not that interested in buying an entire set just for one or two, then this is a much more cost-effective way to pick them up, because these are still $9 for a pack of 3 minifigures. So that comes out to about $3.50 per minifig. You can also usually find some pretty nice accessories that are, again, uncommon in themselves. And the way the Lego stores, it kind of varies from location to location. Some of them will let you pack in 5 torsos, 5 accessories. Some are a little more strict on the rules in terms of, you know, you actually have to have a built minifigure and strictly 1 accessory. So that isn't necessarily across the board. You're going to find the same thing in place everywhere. But do ask around and see what it's like at different locations. But in this case, really strong reasons to go ahead and build the full minifigure for each of the clamshells. What do you guys do with these things? Because I've got a ton of them now. I think there's maybe a little bit of a reason to keep them around if you want to have minifigures you know, sealed away from dust and stuff, but they're not necessarily great for display purposes. In fact, I actually have a display case that I custom built for displaying minifigs, and I don't necessarily feel like I need to use these for that purpose. But I don't know. if there's a good use for these other than storing the minifigs that you got, if you want to keep them separate from everything else to remember where they came from. It's kind of how I've used them, especially as I've been moving around a lot and not necessarily unpacking things all the way. Just kind of a good way to keep them separate until they do find a place to live for a longer amount of time. Alright guys, well thanks for watching today, looking at these 6 minifigures, and we'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.